video up. I have my video up.
Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Molly in
Good
yet?
you. Hey,
Oh, everybody's coming. Jacob's there, Michelle, Nate, Janet. Ooh, this is great.
Wow, I love looking over this list of names.
I know it's pretty amazing.
wonderful.
It
Pretty amazing.
does my heart good.
Yeah,
Jose and D. D is always great about coming into
he is
session.
fantastic.
So lots of familiar faces and new faces too, which I absolutely love. Nate, you didn't have to get dressed up for us, but we appreciate it anyway.
Looking good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great to see both familiar and new names.
Charlie.
I'm so glad that we expanded this community beyond alumni
Yes.
to other experts and people deeply committed to creativity.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And sessions, amazing sessions. What a list this year of
Mhm.
experts to share a wide
Very good.
variety. My head is spinning already.
Have you been drinking martinis for lunch again?
I was gonna say she's starting into the martinis early.
That's me and Chat GPT will be going with a martini later. Oh no,
You
that's
know,
tomorrow.
You can't
Gerard, I
do
have to,
that at a virtual VIR
Gerard, I have to
conference.
say, I thought there was some irony in terms of what the theme for this year's CEE was. When you think about the initials, abbreviation initials for the department, AI.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
When we did the
That's funny.
branding, Michelle, that was not lost on me. Center for Applied Imagination.
Destination,
I
right.
jokingly said to our branding expert, this is the other form of AI,
good
artificial
tagline.
intelligence. Yeah, applied imagination preceded artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
So,
Gerard,
great point.
a question that someone asked me earlier in a text was, what are we supposed to call the department? We've got the Center for Applied Imagination, we've got the Creative Studies program, we've got, so what
Nope.
is
Right
the,
there. Let me stop you right there.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's not creative studies anymore. It's Center. I almost said it wrong. Creativity and Change Leadership.
correct? But again,
Yeah,
so that's why. So I wanted you to print out the official title for everyone to hear it from you.
sure. Uh, Creativity and Change Leadership.
And then what is the difference between that and a Center for Applied Imagination?
You know what, Kristen? That is a great question,
I didn't have a good
which
answer.
I will touch on. I actually will touch on it in the State of the Center.
Okay, thank you.
Good
So
setup.
thanks for teeing that up.
Yeah. Our
You're
names are actually
so good.
less confusing now than they used to be.
That is true. Is Molly in yet? There she is. David, can you also spotlight Molly? Wonder if I can.
Yeah, I think I'm looking to see.
No, I have been given the power of the host role.
There's Marley.
Yep, me either.
The wizard behind the curtain. Thank you,
He's not
David.
talking. He's not talking.
He's not. I don't know what he's doing.
He's being very coy.
Well, this is awesome. It's 17 after the hour. I think we should maybe get started. Molly, what do you think?
I think we're good to go.
Okay. So, welcome all to our State of the Center address. Kristen Peterson, on a few occasions, referred to it as the State of the Union address. You know, I like that perspective, but we're not claiming that level of authority. So, this is the State of the Center. Why do we do this? Thanks for being here, everyone. We want to share with our community Back in January of 1997, I became chair of the department. Hard to believe it was so long ago. And my mantra when I became department chair was to create a sense of community. We just had gone through some pretty challenging times as a department, and looking at this CEE and the number of participants, and looking at the repeat participants, hearing Sue this morning so gleefully greeting people with such warmth and affection, it reminded me this is a special community. It's a community. I'm always reminded whenever we have faculty meetings, and even though Roger claims to be retired, he keeps coming to faculty meetings.
You're not getting rid of me. You're not getting
Exactly. Yeah. Even though we have wishes, we cannot let go. We cannot let go of
And speaking of which, Gerard is on sabbatical, and he keeps seeing him too.
Yeah, good point. So this is me on sabbatical.
Thanks, Sue. Thanks.
So Molly and I are going to share the State of the Center address because Molly is standing in very admirably as chair for this year. And so we're going to share these duties, and you'll hear from all of the full-time faculty and senior faculty at a certain point in this presentation. So since I am on sabbatical, I've not had many audiences to talk to, so be prepared. It's been a while, folks, and I love nothing more than a good PowerPoint slide deck. So this is the State of the Center 2024-2025. Here's what we're going to cover between Molly and I and the faculty. So the DPS, Doctor of Professional Studies, where are we with that? The brainstorming room and the larger initiative, the Innovation Suite. The Day of Giving, annual Day of Giving that Buffalo State hosts each year, which is coming up next week, which again, this year is connected to our Innovation Suite. We'll have faculty updates from each of our full-time and senior faculty members. And then we want to make sure that you're aware when C ends, we do have some other events to stay tuned for and to participate in as early as Friday afternoon and as far out as June of 2025. And then we'll open it up for Q&A because we'd love to interact with you. So many of you have expressed interest in hearing more about the DPS, Doctor of Professional Studies. I'm not going to go through each of the milestones or historical moments in the slide, but I just wanted to share because I don't know if anyone has had the feeling that we've been talking about this for a really long time, and you might be wondering, why are these people so slow? They keep mentioning this and teasing this doctoral program. Remember, we work within the largest university system in the US, which means lots of bureaucracy. So, and you think we've been talking about this for a while. I went back into my files, and I've been talking about the doctoral program since 2011 internally. I found a document with talking points that I had put together to begin to talk to our administration about the potential of a doctoral program. So it's been at least 14 years. So let's flash forward. Let's not go over each of these historical markers, but let me just say, we not only teach creativity and change leadership, but we actually get engaged in facilitating change leadership. And I think this doctoral program would make a wonderful case study in change leadership. So most recently, in terms of the current iteration of the doctoral program, the new program proposal was submitted in June of 2023, and because this would be Buffalo State's first doctoral program, a plan for amending Buffalo State's charter, the institution-wide, also had to be created and submitted. Then in August, SUNY informed us that they had some new documents that were required as part of a new program proposal. And so we had to withdraw the proposal in August of 2023 and do the new forms that were required for a new program. Those are resubmitted in September. In December, SUNY provided us with feedback. This is a very collegial process, back and forth. The proposal, when it's submitted, is a work in progress, if you will, a prototype of a concept. So it's an iterative process, which finally ended in August of 2024 when the State University of New York Budget Office approved the program and the financial planning around the program. Then we found out in September, this tells you how rigorous this review process is, that SUNY had disqualified one of our external evaluators because of an error that they found in that external evaluator's report. So we had to go back to the drawing board, find another external evaluator, have that person go through the entire process, again, interviewing all of the faculty, interviewing students. Thank you for those of you that are in this Zoom meeting who participated in that. Nothing like turning our graduates onto an external evaluator to overwhelm them with enthusiasm for the program. Thank you all for being so loyal to us and to the work that we do. All three external evaluators were absolutely blown away by the enthusiasm that you all show for the department. So thank you. That new external evaluators report was submitted in November. We then had to provide a response to their critique. And that happened by the end of November. At the beginning of this year, while on sabbatical in London, I received a request from SUNY to have the entire 200-page document revised to remove any of the conversation and narrative about how we were responding to feedback, because it's not supposed to be a narration of the process, but a full and complete proposal with the up-to-date and last word when it comes to the back and forth and the feedback and where we had arrived at certain structures and frameworks and concepts and so forth. So that happened in January. So good news. Drum roll, please. Next week, and I skipped over it. Next week, our Doctor of Professional Studies, a resolution is being presented to the SUNY Board of Trustees to modify and to accept a new charter for Buffalo State, which would allow Buffalo State to offer doctoral degrees. And as part of that resolution is to allow Buffalo State to offer its first doctoral degree, a doctorate of professional studies in creativity and change leadership. So that's going to happen next Tuesday. This is the final step within the SUNY process. So if all goes well and we receive approval, it will then go on to the state ed department. That process is generally much faster than the SUNY process. And with that, we will be able to launch our doctoral program in the fall of 2026. This is what we're working towards. In fact, Sue Keller Mathers has a course released this semester to work on some of the initial courses that will be offered when we start the DPS. So it's going to be fully online. It will involve potentially a residential experience connected to the Creative Problem Solving Institute. Molly will say some more things about the Creative Problem Solving Institute and also some unique features of the doctoral program, which include things like 3-article and group dissertation work. Not surprisingly, we want to be creative with the curriculum, and we want the curriculum to reflect the creative process, not just in the courses that we deliver, but how students engage in the research process. And so we are entertaining quite seriously the idea of group dissertations whereby students work together on a program of research, taking a program of research and collaborating on studies within a program of research as they're working on their dissertations. So cool stuff. 72 credit hours, that's 40 credit hours above the Master of Science degree. The Ruth Noller framework, which we're all familiar with, the formula, creativity function of knowledge, imagination, evaluation, driven by creative attitudes is the structure for the curriculum. This will be 3 years part-time cohort model, 3 years beyond the Master of Science degree. And I'm going to turn over to Molly for other unique features to our doctoral program.
Thanks. Yeah, I thought it'd be worth talking a little bit about what makes this program really the first of its kind, and hopefully appealing to you all and what we're excited as a faculty about being able to teach what we have in the curriculum. So first of all, a part of the curriculum, there's a whole course where students will be teaching creativity courses. So whether that's an undergraduate course or I guess this could be training as well, something like training at CEE or conference. So really applying your learning and getting credit for that as part of the program. And then this is, well, I don't know if I could decide between the next two, but between the next two, I think these are both extremely exciting. So all courses are designed in the context of creativity. So if you're taking research methods, for example, it's not general research methods, but it's research methods within the field of creativity, which, you know, can sound superficial, but there are some very, very meaningful differences in that. And so that's really exciting and something that I don't think is offered in many other programs. And then finally, meaningful research. So this is targeted towards people who are professionals and who have access to these sort of unique populations. And as Dr. Lubar was talking about earlier, a lot of creativity research and research in general tends to take place in convenient samples, right? So undergraduate psychology students, which, you know, you can draw some conclusions to that. But when you have people who are within organizations, have access to their colleagues, their employees, their students, you can do some, I think, much more applicable research that can be generalized and have a real impact. So things like interventionist studies and daily diary studies. So there are some more unique aspects, but I'll just highlight those for today.
Awesome. Thank you, Molly. One of the things that really excites me about the doctoral program is the opportunity. Frankly, how can I put it? Many of you have said in the past that you struggle when it comes to graduation and moving on. And this was the reason why we started CEE, because we have found our students expressed regret or disappointment in thinking about graduating, which is really weird, and leaving the department. So we started CEE. How many academic departments can say that students don't want to leave? Well, frankly, we miss you too. And a year, 2 years just goes way too fast. So the doctoral program gives us an opportunity to take that year, the 2 years, if you're doing this via distance, and spreading it out over 5 years so that we can work with you over a longer, more sustained period of time. So that's fantastic news. Other strategic initiatives that we're working on, which we've been talking about for some time, are also coming to fruition. as of June of 2025, the brainstorming room, which is being reconstructed right now, will open up for use. This is phase one of our larger innovation project. We are using the iconography and branding assets that were generated under the leadership of Matej Schwartz. This will be featured in this room. You see the mural here on the right. We're really trying to own our history and to showcase our history, that the work that we do goes back to some of the pioneers in the field. So some next steps in terms of the brainstorming room, which is housed in Butler Library. Kristen Peterson, who is in this Zoom meeting, is going to be facilitating. Thank you, Kristen, for volunteering to do this. She'll be facilitating an advisory group and forming a steering committee that will work between April and September of 2025. There's a old Hollywood film, Field of Dreams. There's a saying that has gotten into everyday language, build it and they will come. That's great in Hollywood, but that doesn't always happen. And there have been many innovation suites at universities that have failed, that started and have now been shuttered. And we don't want that to happen. The Osborne family, thank you to the Osbornes in being major donors to help establish the brainstorming room. The funds that were donated to us from the Osborne family were done so with the vision that this space would be not only an applied creativity space, but an applied creativity space used to support the community on campus and off campus. So we're looking for an advisory group to help us to develop, if you will, the operational policies for this space going forward. So if you're interested, please reach out to Kristen Peterson, grab a screenshot of her email address. She's forming that advisory group as we speak. Molly will say more about some upcoming events. Some are related to the brainstorming room. Let me share the larger initiative and use that to set up the Day of Giving. So the brainstorming room is one space within our innovation suite, but there are other elements as well. Just as a quick reminder, there's the brainstorming space, which is an interactive space with technology that allows us to virtually interact with people all around the world in a seamless fashion, with microphones embedded in the ceiling and video to enable that kind of interaction to occur without much friction. Another piece of the innovation suite is the Parnes collection, a space that will bring out and showcase our history via archival material. We also have the Rimels mentoring space and the Puccio Small Business Incubator. That is a fairly large footprint within our Butler Library dedicated to innovation. The overall project cost, when it was originally projected as $620,000, we've raised $440,000. The brainstorming room, although the original cost projection was $100,000, it ended up landing at $220,000. We had some funds that were redirected. Thank you, Joe Rimels, for that in order to shore up that gap. But we still have a gap as we move into the Parnes Creativity Collection as phase two. So each year, Buffalo State has a Day of Giving. Kristen Peterson, when we started the State of the Center address, was asking about, good question, about what's the difference between a center and a department? And so let's be clear. We refer to ourselves as a center because we do some things outside of what traditional departments do. The official name for our academic department is Creativity and Change Leadership. We went through the branding process a few years back. We decided to align the name of the department with the name of the degree. So the degree and certificate, it's a SUNY certificate in creativity and change leadership. It's a master's degree in creativity and change leadership. Soon it'll be a doctor of professional studies in creativity and change leadership. The name of the department is creativity and change leadership. The academic department is supported by state funds. It's supported by state funds. And so when you look at the operating budget of the academic department to support these degree programs, which is referred to as the OTPS budget, other than personnel services, so beyond our salaries, if you look at this slide, we have on an annual basis $6,500 roughly to support instructional material supplies. We have $5,600 for faculty to travel. We have $6,100 to have contractual agreements to support things like our copier and printing. We get $1,900 a year for equipment. Think about how much equipment that buys. That's a total of $20,000 to support our academic department. We get 0 state funds for our center activities. So the Creativity Expert Exchange, the Innovation Suite, and all of the additional work that faculty take on happens out of funds that we raise ourselves. So that's why we often come to you, and it is part of higher education within the US to ask for donations. The reason why this is important, again, is that our center activities, like the Innovation Suite, aren't supported by the state and our OTPS operating budget, and frankly, it couldn't. It's so small. We have to go out and get those funds ourselves. So next week is the annual Day of Giving. This is a quick summary of last year and a number of the units and how we compared to the fundraising in last year's annual Day of Giving. You can see we came in third in terms of number of donors. We did well in terms of the funds raised. The higher education unit, academic unit on campus, they took first place with 61 donors. I would really love it this year. We've got over 800 alumni. If we could, I'm a competitive guy, sorry, former college wrestler. I like being number 1, being number 3, bronze medal. That's okay. I would really love to get the gold this year. We will drop into the chat box later the link for that annual Day of Giving. By the way, Russ Wheeler, I don't know how you heard about this already. He's made a contribution. Russ, shout out to you for being the first to make a gift as part of the Day of Giving 2025. The link is here if you want to take a screenshot, but we'll drop it in the chat box later. So thank you in advance to anyone who decides to help us out. I hope that clears up how our budget works and perhaps the distinction between the department, which again is Creativity and Change Leadership, and the Center for Applied Imagination. To the public, we go by Center for Applied Imagination, frankly, because it's just a lot sexier. So that brings us to faculty updates. We're going to quickly go around the horn and have each faculty member let you know what they're currently working on. Dr. Susan Keller-Mathers, you are up first.
All right, just a quick update. So 3 of the things that I love to do, I've been working on this year, which makes me very excited. And one is the Classic Scholars, as many of you know. So Gerard may mention, Dr. Pucci may mention this later, but working on a chapter on Calvin Taylor, which is very exciting to me, as well as some other publications. Ruth Noller has been the focus the last 2 years because I really felt like Ruth's voice wasn't out there. And so I continued and along with Melody Ozioprek and Joette Field, finished a chapter on Ruth Noller as well. And in my administrative leave this semester, one course leave, working on some of those administrative things for the doctorate program, as well as the courses, the first courses that will be coming as part of the doctorate. So pretty exciting.
Thank you, Sue. Next on the list is Dr. Hollinger.
Thanks, Gerard. And Sue, I have to echo, I think that's so wonderful that we're getting Ruth more into the spotlight. So I'll just mention one project. The project that I'm most excited about at the moment is editing along with Dr. Ozzy Prak, Dr. James Kaufman, Dr. Willibald Rook, whose name is probably not familiar to most of you. He's in the positive psychology field, as well as Dr. Louis Tay, who's at University or Purdue University. So they're both in positive psychology. And we just got approval, I think, a couple weeks ago for a contract with Cambridge on a handbook of creativity and well-being. And we have a pretty spectacular lineup of authors who are going to contribute. So yes, very, very excited that that's moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Molly. Next up is Dr. Melody Ozyaprok.
And she is on her way to class.
Oh, okay.
As I believe Dr. Udis is as well.
Okay. Well, that brings us to Dr. Roger Firestein.
Thanks, Gerard. Just a couple of things. In 2023, I released my 7th book called Solve the Real Problem. And thank you, Gerard. Thank you, everybody. And it's written in the same format as Creating a Flash with lots of pictures and all that good stuff. In November, we released the audio version of Solve the Real Problem. So it's now an audio book. So you can go to Audible and pick it up. I narrated. It was a wonderful experience. So it's on Amazon and on Audible. Also in November, I delivered a TEDx talk in Omaha, Nebraska, similar to what I just did as the talk just a little bit ago on connections. And then at the end of November, I began to feel a little burned out, and then I kind of reflected. In the last 5 years, I've done about 20 major projects, including 3 books, a 9-part series on innovation on Open Sesame, 2 TED Talks, continued blogs and consulting. And so I'm in the process of kind of taking a little creative break. But in that process, in December of this year, my grandparents' house on our farm in northern Colorado became available. And so I'm splitting time now on the farm in Greeley, Colorado, Maggie and Janet, just up the road from y'all. And so I spent about a week or so, a month out there, and my mom will be 94 next week, able to spend some time with her in her years, and my sister is out there as well. So it's been a refreshing experience to go back and forth and to live in the house that your father was born in. And so also I just wrote a piece on that on my website called What If You Could Live in Your Ancestor's House? It's been a very interesting experience and really fun. So that's where I'm at. So Maggie, Janet, email me and I'll be out next week. Let's go for coffee. I'll meet you in Platteville, okay?
And that is the main reason why we did the State of the Center address, so that Roger could organize his social calendar.
All right.
Way to go, Raj.
Thanks.
That's awesome. So you said Joe had to go to class?
Yeah, I believe.
She's not with us? Okay.
I looked again. I don't think she is.
Okay.
Plus, she had somebody that come just a little while ago that wants them to be in the minor program at the undergraduate. So great
Awesome.
stuff is happening.
Awesome. So I recognize we're a minute over, a few more things to go through, and we'll speed them up. Hopefully, if you have to drop out, that's fine. We understand. Thanks for joining us. If you can stick with us, though, we will wrap things up by sharing a few more tidbits with you in terms of work that I'm doing. Sue mentioned I'm on sabbatical. I'm working on 2 books. Mid-Century Creativity Reader, which features speeches never before published by people like Don McKinnon, Guilford, Joseph Campbell, Paul Torrance, Sid Parnes, Ruth Noller, Gardner Murphy. You can see some familiar names in terms of pioneers in the field, as well as each speech is, there's commentary made on each speech by contemporary scholars. You'll see, again, some very familiar names here like Robert Sternberg, but also members of our faculty. In fact, every full-time faculty member and senior faculty member in the Center for Applied Imagination is also an author in this book, including the good Dr. Melody Azaprock. And even though she's not here, she is with us in this project. Second book I'm working on is Palgrave International Handbook on Applied Creativity in Higher Education. We just need to have more programs like our own around the world. So the purpose of this book is to inspire other colleges and universities to start their own creativity programs. Jo Udis, I'm sure would have mentioned if she was here to highlight her work over the last year, did a remarkable job doing a search to identify programs, applied creativity programs in higher education, which identified 70-some colleges and universities around the world. In this book, we have 30-some contributors who are showcasing their programs. Many of them are alumni of our program. More than a dozen alumni are featured as authors in this book. So thank you for your contributions. The mission of the department is to ignite creativity around the world, and we hope that this book will help to do that. Speaking of faculty, I want to just pause for a moment and thank all of the adjunct faculty who work for the department and contribute your expertise, even though we were highlighting full-time and senior faculty. Know how much we love and appreciate all that you do for the department. There are some events coming up that you should know about, and we hope you participate in. Over to Molly to highlight these upcoming events.
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to say a big thank you to our mini C presenters this year for the 2024 to 2025 academic year. We had Alain Cayenne and Hector Ramos give a fireside chat, which is a clever title for Helen has a book called Fire Up Innovation. So speaking to innovation within teams. And then we also had Sarah Thurber and Blair Miller. Oh, it looks like we don't have them in the audience. So Blair, you don't get a shout out. But they did a fantastic.
There you go, Blair.
And talking about their new book, which has came out in the past year, called Good Team, Bad Team. And then we also had our dear friends, Dr. Cindy Burnett and Dr. John Cabra, give a presentation on how to infuse creativity into your college course. And then we also have an upcoming mini-C from Bronco Brokman and Liz Monroe Cook on polarity thinking. And that date will be sometime in April. So again, we'll be sending out through our mailing list and on our Facebook page. So refer to the chat, and if Sue or Gerard or Roger, you could repost those in the chat. That would be helpful. Thank you.
And Dr. Hollinger, also those past ones are available on our website. Is that correct?
That is, yes, you can find them on our YouTube channel as well. So I can post that link in the chat. And then also for anyone, I think we have mostly alumni here, but for those who are interested in the program, we have a virtual information session coming up April 4th. So you can use this QR code. And again, we can post that link in the chat if you'd like more information once registration becomes available. Thank you. And I think what I'm most excited to share with you all, we were speaking to, it's so wonderful to connect with the community, and we miss you all too. So we are planning an alumni and donor homecoming this June, and that will be preceding the CEE conference, which is coming to the Buffalo State campus. So there are two pieces to this. The first is a social event on the 21st, otherwise known as a party. So this will be from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. And it'll be outdoors on the Buffalo State campus. Knock on wood, it will we'll have finish up the snow in Buffalo, and we'll have some beautiful weather, and can enjoy the outdoors. Another component of this is a ribbon cutting for the brainstorming room, which Gerard mentioned earlier, and of course some good food and drinks. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. And then so the following day will be a half-day conference on Sunday, June 22nd, soft start around 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And this will be mostly an opportunity for networking, and a little bit of play and fun, and then also a book fair. So we have many authors amongst our alumni, so an opportunity to promote your books. And if you'd like more information on that, you can sign up, and we'll send out updates as things develop and registration opens. And finally, for those who are local, thank you to Miggy Wong. I think she may be in the room. So a shout out to you for organizing a CEE happy hour tomorrow evening from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Richardson. It'd be wonderful to see those who are in Buffalo there, and just celebrate being together and the conclusion of CEE. So again, thank you to Miggy for organizing that. And I think that's all I have. So I'll pass it back to you, Gerard, to wrap things up.
Thank you, Molly. So we'll just conclude by saying thank you to all of you. It was so terrific to see the interaction during our virtual coffee break in the morning, that moment before we officially started this event, to see the enthusiasm that you all have for the subject and for each other. I mentioned when I began the State of the Center earlier, my mantra back in 1997 was to create a sense of community, and it's just remarkable to me to see the enthusiasm that you all have for the subject and for each other. I'm sorry, Jacob, you're there right in front of me, so I'm going to call you out as an example. Folks like Jacob and so many others who just keep coming back. That's so important and valuable to us. As Sue likes to say, you're students for a while and a colleagues forever. And we're all colleagues in this grand mission that we have of igniting creativity around the world. If we look and we see in the 70s, the first creativity program in the world was founded here in Buffalo. There are 70 some around the world now, but there are 25,000 universities in the world. We got a lot of work left to do. And we can't do that as a team of 6, 8, 10, 14 faculty, including all of our wonderful adjuncts. We need all of us to be creative change leaders to help advance this field. So thank you to you all who hang in there and are active members of our community. We love you and we enjoy our interactions with you, and please keep coming back. And that brings our State of the Center to an official close. I'm not sure because I'm looking at my gallery view of the faculty here. I don't know, guys, if you're able to hang out. I will certainly hang out if anybody has any questions. This is an opportunity to interact. What would you like to know or say? We'll hang out here as long as you want to hang out. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
That sounds great.
Be here for a while.
That's what I'm worried about.
Well,
So
thanks,
you could,
everybody.
yeah, if you need to drop out, feel free. Otherwise, if anybody has any questions or comments, I'll stick around for a little bit.
And we'll see you tomorrow for sure.
Yes, please come tomorrow.
It's free.
Coffee hour again at 9:30. Thanks, everybody. We'll just let people drop off and then we'll
Yep.
hang.
Cool. I'm gonna hang with you guys for a minute. I missed you guys.
You're just
Thank
here to
you.
Spent a lot
hang.
of
We know.
spent a lot of time with you people.
Yeah. You brought the family along.
time.
Are you kidding?
That's
That's
it.
family, man.
I know.
Yep, the whole
I know.
family came through the program.
Oh, it was funny because I got hooked the minute Copper talked about that wheelbarrow invention. When they sat there, that was it for me. I was so right
Got it
there.
with the wheelbarrow.
And now you're
That was
Dr.
it.
Ravenel. Congratulations.
Yeah, UBI.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
I love that. Love our partnership.
Perseverance, and it wins the race, and I wasn't giving up, and I just, that's just the way I've always had a time clock in me that was always just welcome rigor. You know what I mean? Like I never gave up. So this is where I am. I made it. I got it over with. I knew I was going to make it, but it was just a matter of time. COVID tried to stop it all, and other factors and stuff like that. But I fought the good fight, and was victorious. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
all about what my daughters say: lock in. You gotta lock in.
we're proud of you, Eugene. We are
Yeah,
proud of you.
thanks. And it's so funny. I've become experts in like all the things that I hated, and it's like we always say, be careful what you hate because you might wind up loving it.
Eugene,
KAI was a mess.
It might draw it into your life.
KAI was a mess.
are you talking about
what is it?
APA style?
Oh yeah, I'm good now. Oh, I'm an expert at that one now. Cher beat it into me. She was like, no. She got me, but
Too funny.
APA style's 100% now. The writing's way better. I actually released 2 books on Amazon, so I'm waiting for them to. And it's
Wow.
funny,
Well, congratulations.
so I'm waiting for I think another 24 hours for it to go and be uploaded. One of them was based on my dissertation, and the other one was about one of the 4 P's.
Your microphone is dropping out, Eugene. Your microphone dropped out there.
Probably my dog. But yeah, so I'll let you guys know what's up.
But make sure, Eugene, with those books and other authors, as Molly pointed out, with our Alumni and Donor Day, to participate with us so that we can feature that work.
Yeah.
So if anybody has a question, feel free to raise your digital hand so that you pop up into the front of the gallery view. Questions or comments, raise your digital hand and we will call on you.
I think they just all want to hang.
Yeah.
Oh, Nate's got one.
Yeah.
Nate.
Tell us more about this doctoral program. I know you only put a couple bullet points up on that slide, and you had, what, I don't know, 90 something backup slides ready to go from your original 118 deck. So there's got to be more content on your side of the house. And we're just all here.
Well, what would you like to know?
Guys, I'm going to jump off. See you all tomorrow.
Okay, Raj, thanks. See you in the morning.
Raj.
Everybody. Okay, see you later.
Nate, you got I've got 80
Sure.
backup slides, but I don't want to go over all 80.
All right. So I'll start with the idea of team-based research or working on like a portfolio of research together and to earn your credential. That's a fascinating concept. What was the inspiration behind that, and where have you seen that working well? And I'd just be curious to hear more about that.
That's a great question. So a couple of things. One of the bottlenecks in a doctoral program is dissertation work. So you go from doctoral courses, which we have no problem delivering because there's plenty of content, So that's fairly easy for us, and almost every faculty member is an award-winning instructor, either SUNY or Buffalo State award-winning faculty member. So lots of content and really good instructors. One of the concerns when it comes to moving students through the doctoral program isn't so much about the courses, because we know you all are really good at that as learners as well, which makes things work efficiently. But doctoral dissertations can be a real bottleneck. You shift to one-on-one work, and you are going very deeply into a specific topic. So to your question, Nathan, one of the problems we were trying to solve was, how do we not allow that to be a bottleneck? And secondarily, in a creativity and change leadership program, how do you have the dissertation process reflect the process you're teaching? And if you're going alone, that kind of flies in the face of what we know about the power of creative collaboration and also lessons around leadership, right? So shifting to individual work when you're learning in your curriculum about leadership and creative process and collaboration in some ways didn't make sense. So did a search, and we found that there is this thing called group dissertation. It is not widely accepted, but where it is being tested is, guess what? In leadership programs. And the argument for it is it provides an opportunity to apply the theory that you're learning, right? All of us know that have taught, when it comes to group work, especially with undergraduate students, they often don't know how to get along, and they don't enjoy working in groups because it can be so challenging working in groups. Well, if you're getting a DPS, Doctor of Professional Studies in Creativity and Change Leadership, you should be able to apply the skills that you've learned and the theories that you've been exposed to navigate that process. So it's bold, it's cutting edge, it's not unheard of. It seems to be a great fit for our degree, our content, and our curriculum. And that's what led to the idea of group dissertation work. Plus, there is, when you look at publications nowadays, you can see there's been a great transition from single author often to collaborative co-authored work. So as problems become more complex and research becomes more complex, you just see this natural progression in the professional world to move away from single author publications to collaborative publications. And so we want to reflect the real scholarship that's happening in the world as well. So those are a number of reasons, at least 3 reasons for why we're attracted to the idea of group dissertations. So
I love it, and I'm not surprised at all that you would try to create that opportunity for participants in the program. I love the idea about them being able to support each other and sort of, going through the dissertations, probably a bit of a slog sometimes. And I think you'll have an opportunity to do research on the process itself, to try to gather some data and look at performance outcomes for these groups as they go through the process as a small collective as opposed to individual contributors. Last thing is just not a question, but a comment. Molly, whatever you've got for a note on your left hand, don't forget to reread that thing before you have to go.
Very observant. Hmm.
Another thing too, Gerard,
List.
it'll keep a lot of people out of what do you call it, mental institutions, if you know what I mean.
the social support, yeah, absolutely. Molly, you wanted to?
Yeah, I'll just add a couple of things to that. First of all, research has just, in the past 10 years, really advanced, and so most publications now, as Jared mentioned, you have a methodologist, you have someone who's writing the literature review, and so it's who is it, Adam Smith, like having those different expertises, which is kind of like just at the level that research is at this day, pretty almost required. And so I think that's also an advantage to having this group dissertation model, is it reflects the model in scholarly publications in journals, in that you have these different co-authors who have expertise in each of these areas. So it may be the case that, like, when the stars align and there's a cohort where there's someone with like a strong methodologist, and then someone who perhaps has access to a specific population that you can gather data from. That would be sort of the ideal cohort to apply this model, and it may not be feasible in all cohorts, but I think in some some cohorts where you do have those complementary skill sets, it could really elevate the quality of dissertations, and reflect sort of the general trends in terms of publications now, just because the level of research is really really high quality, which is the good thing, right?
Absolutely.
I'm going to break off. I just wanted to say hi to everybody and thank you. And
Thanks,
I will see you
Diane.
all
Great to
tomorrow.
see you. Thanks for joining us. So we can hang out and respond to any other questions or comments, or look at each other for a while and not say anything and meditate, or...
Jennifer's got one.
I got a question, sort of a follow on to what Molly was saying. So, I am an ideator. I have some ideas on things that I would really like to start researching now. In fact, I've been gathering data, with my business partner. One of the things I do is run an accelerator for startups. And we launch baby businesses into, the cybersphere. And we are sort of delving into a broader swath of emerging tech entrepreneurs. And so I guess one of my questions is, I would like to start collecting the data now that I would like to use in the future, but I'm guessing there are some pretty important processes to follow to make sure the data is what it needs to be. Is there a way I could work with someone to sort of set that up so that I can be collecting data in the hopes of using it in the future, rather than waiting until, when I'm in the program type of thing?
I think that's a great question. I'll start a response to that, but I'm going to ask Molly to jump in. Of the three of us that are on screen right now, the most recently minted PhD, who may be more up on some of this than let's say Sue and I. So what I love, Jennifer, about what you're saying is hitting the ground running and taking advantage of opportunities that you have now. The other thing that I like about what you just shared, it has a very applied approach. So really looking at deliberate creativity, applied creativity, creativity in action, or topics that are adjacent to creativity. If I'm understanding, precisely what you're saying, which really aligns well with a doctor of professional studies. It is professional studies. It's the professional world. How is creativity being used? How are concepts related to creativity being used? So the framing is spot on. In terms of collecting the data now, I'm going to turn to Molly and see what advice she might have for you in that regard. I've got some thoughts as well, but want to give Molly an opportunity, again, being the person who has the most recent experience when it comes to dissertation work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'd just be happy to connect and talk about it. So I'll put my email in the chat, and we can we can talk about how to go forward. That would be great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Molly. Anyone else?
See you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.
Thanks, Eugene. Good to see you.
Bye, everybody. Yeah, see you tomorrow.
I'm gonna
All right, bye-bye.
head out too. This has been great. Hope to see many of you or all of you tomorrow.
See you, Sue. Anything else we can do?
I think I'll head out tomorrow, but see you all at coffee hour. And yeah, day one was a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Good day. Thanks, Molly.
I know as well, but thank you. It was great today.
Okay.
So nice to see everyone.
Well,